Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football. It's the start of another big week and Manchester City could be in trouble with the FA facing charges for their reaction to the Spurs game yesterday. We'll get into that and look, it looks like we're going to get our first Premier League sacking as well. We'll talk about that. Sheffield United manager looks like he's going to be sacked, may well have been sacked by the time you watch this. It's never nice, but it's the 4th of December. That's got to be some sort of record for a Premier League sacking. But let's start off with Manchester City. Disgrace is the word that has been used quite a lot. Disgrace that the referee got the decision wrong. Disgrace the way that Manchester City reacted to it. Well, look, I think there has to be an FA charge, at least for Erling Haaland on this. You could say his quickest and most effective action from that game yesterday was running down the tunnel, picking up his phone up and tweeting. That was record timing. I mean, he was off on his phone and tweeting at WTF as quick as he's been all season, I think. But look, I yesterday reacted in a way which I wouldn't apologise for, but it wasn't very even-handed, and I don't like to be like that. But look, we're all human. I thought Spurs deserved the point, and I don't think Man City deserved to win. And if they had won, I'd have been sat there going, they've done it again. But ultimately, you've got to look at it in the cold heart of day. And I knew at the time I was completely being unfair towards Manchester City. But sometimes it is football and there has to be that rivalry, of course. The referee inexplicably made a massive mistake. I've seen it. I saw it at the time and I was just like, I think I laughed because I was like, that is shocking, absolutely shocking. But it's not the only shocking decision of the weekend, and no one else is talking about the other one, which I will in a moment. But look, with the Man City thing, yes, Haaland's fouled. We have a thing called advantage. We've had it for years. The advantage was being played. He plays it to Grealish, who's through one-on-one, and then he pulls it back. There is no logical reason to do that. It is completely wrong. If that happened to Manchester United at the Etihad or the Emirates, and we've got a chance to go through one-on-one and win, I'm going to be going mad about it for weeks, as would any Liverpool fan or Arsenal fan. We get it. It was unfair. It wasn't correct, and it was a shocking, shocking decision to make. But the difference here is that, and I said it straight away, is that it's human error. It's not VAR. VAR can't do anything. As soon as he blows his whistle, Man City are done. There is no recourse. There is nothing that can't be reviewed. It's not like a red card or a penalty. It's an on-field mistake. And what we've been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks is mainly VAR not making right decisions. So this is not VAR. This is on an official, and we do get this. And in some ways, as horrific as the decision was, it needs to be dealt with. Of course it does, and Man City were robbed, of course. But it's an on-field mistake, and I'd rather have that where it's human error than what we've been having over the last few weeks. He got it completely wrong. There is no doubt about it. I don't actually think Grealish scores, by the way. I think he's got a long way to run, and there's numerous Spurs players running back, plus he's got to beat Vicario as well. So, Grealish has still got a lot to do there, but they got the decision wrong, and as soon as he blows the whistle, Man City are in trouble. And I somewhat understand the frustration, because if I was on the pitch and that happened, it's not like a 50-50 decision. It's 100% wrong. But the way Man City react, and I think they've been getting away with it for too long. In the modern game, you're not meant to do what Man City do. They crowd the referee all the time. They did it against Liverpool last week for a handball that was nowhere near a handball. And I think the FA need to come down on Man City, just for general football. We've had it at United. I think Chelsea have had it. I think Arsenal have had it as well. We've already been punished for this sort of behaviour. Man City are well overdue. Erling Haaland's not the captain. Players crowding the referee like that, they need to come down on it. They need to. And Erling Haaland can't run off and do tweets either. I mean, he'll get dealt with that. But I do understand their frustration. I do. It's just I don't really care about it, because I think it opens up the title race, and everybody apart from Man City fans wants a good title race, and it would have not been if Grealish had scored yesterday. But it was a shocking decision. Get your comments in below about it. What can you do about that? I think to be fair, those are the sort of things that you hope even themselves out. I don't think VAR evens itself out. I think VAR is a mess. But I think referees making mistakes, you hope that will even itself out, because it was a shocking decision. But so was a decision that's not been spoken about at all, which is Aston Villa against Bournemouth yesterday, where Bournemouth should have had a man sent off in the first half. He's on a yellow card and he pulls somebody back right in front of the referee. It's a second yellow card. And Villa against 10 men probably win that game. And Villa are trying to get into a title race, but they're also in a top 4 race. And that's 2 points that Villa don't get because a referee makes a shocking decision. And it's just as bad as the decision yesterday. It's illogical. It's outside the parameters of the rules that you're educated in. And those decisions, as it was for Man City, is very, very frustrating for Aston Villa because that guy's on a yellow card and right in front of the referee, he pulls the shirt of somebody and stops them moving away. It's a yellow card. Like, that is a blatant yellow card, and the referee doesn't do it. They're very frustrating. It was very frustrating for City, and that's very frustrating for Aston Villa. And we must be even-handed here. We must be even-handed here and call it out. It's officials making decisions that are not to the letter of the law and making big mistakes. And Howard Webley needs to look at that. But it's important to remember the Villa one as well. Get your comments in what your thoughts are on that. We've got the podcast coming out tomorrow. We're recording that later today. It's a double game week as well. Get your FPL teams done. I've got to do Goldbridge again. I had a nightmare at the weekend. But we are going to see our first sacking in the Premier League, and it's going to be Sheffield United's Higginbotham. Yeah, look, I think it's probably got to the point where it needs to happen. I still am of the opinion that sacking the Luton manager or sacking the Sheffield United manager is somewhat a waste of time. I don't believe there is a manager in world football, Pep Guardiola, Ancelotti, anybody that can keep Sheffield United or Luton up. So I do feel that sacking one of those managers is pointless because they're going to get relegated anyway, and sacking a manager means money, which could be used. You know, Higginbotham would probably get Sheffield United back up next season with parachute payments. But the problem that he's got and Sheffield United have got is you've just played Burnley, who are not very good, and they've battered you 5-0. So that's the problem he's got, is that we can look at it from the outside and say, I don't really see what the point of this is. It's going to cost you money. The new manager comes in and wants to spend in January. You're not going to stay up, but you're going to try and waste money staying up. And I think that that's a valid point not to sack him. On the other hand, it does also get to a point where the players maybe aren't playing for the manager anymore. Maybe it does need a change because they're getting beaten every week and they just need a bit of a bounce. And I think it's inevitable that Sheffield United were going to, pull the plug at some point. So it's always sad to see a manager sacked, but I mean, what I will say is, I hope we see more of this in the Premier League in future years, where managers aren't being sacked until December, because I think there has, we haven't had a World Cup as well, so it's been constant Premier League football from August to December, and this is the first sacking. Do you agree with it? Probably you do. I'm sure there will be some more managerial sackings coming in, but why do you think, actually? Why do you think we've not got many sackings this year? Do you think it's owners being more patient and pragmatic and realistic? Or do you think it's a Premier League that's actually very, very competitive, and beyond the expected teams in the relegation zone, everybody's sort of beating each other, so nobody's consistently producing bad enough results to be sacked? I personally think it's the latter. I think when you look at the Crystal Palaces, the Fulhams, the Brentfords, the Evertons, the West Hams, the Brightons, the Chelseas, the Manchester Uniteds, I suppose, as well, all the clubs that maybe have managers that could potentially put themselves in a position to be sacked. I'm not saying that Thomas Frank's ever going to get sacked, but you know what I mean. I could mention Liverpool as well. Any club, apart from Luton, Sheffield United and Burnley, who are expected to be relegated, all the other clubs, their managers don't really go on those consistent runs to be sacked. It's a very competitive league, and maybe that's the byproduct, is that we don't get many managerial casualties. I don't know. Get your comments in below. What are your thoughts on the Man City situation, the officials, and also the sacking situation there. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. I'll speak to you on the next one. And don't forget, it is midweek. Premier League games. We've got a watch along for you tomorrow night, which is Luton Arsenal. Take care.